Campos for that. Good morning, everyone. And good morning and welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting for the Board of Public Works for Wednesday, May 18, 2022. Dr. Campos?
Good morning, everyone. Fernando Campos, Executive Officer, establishing roll call and quorum for today. We have President Garcia, Vice President Villegas, President Pro Tem Davis, and Commissioners Corzan and Reyes. President Garcia, you do have a quorum. President Garcia, at this time, we do not have any callers on the line under general public comment. We do not have any commentary under the Neighborhood Council comment section as well. We do have one member from the general public that's on the line for item number 10. In addition to that, we did receive comments through our Google form on general public comment items 7 and 10, and we also received one additional email on item number 7. That email has been distributed to all commissioners, and the Google comments will be distributed momentarily.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you for that. All right, Dr. Campos. So, given that there's no public comment, we will officially close public comment for today. Thank you for that. And we're going to the approval of the minutes of Wednesday, May 4, 2022. Is there a second to my motion to move this item forward and forthwith?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Dr. Campos is the first by me and a second by Dr. Davis to move the approval of the minutes of Wednesday, May 4th, 2022.
Absolutely. We'll start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Davis, aye.
Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
I wasn't at that meeting.
Would you like to abstain?
Yes.
Thank you.
Dr. Campos, same note that we made before, with the notation on the record, but the vote has to get recorded as well.
Absolutely. We will make that notation on the journal. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Campos, for that. Before we get into the official agenda, I want to make a couple of announcements, and for everybody that's joining us here today, in case no one has heard, it is National Public Works Week. So congratulations to all of us. We are in the midst of National Public Works Week. This year's theme is Ready and Resilient. And, I know that all of you on this board feel the same, but all of our workers, our 5,000 plus workers of Public Works, are the embodiment of Ready and Resilient. And they've demonstrated that throughout, the pandemic, and even before that and now, as we not only maintain, repair, construct, but we innovate and create new things for our residents. And I'm making a short little snip on that because I didn't want today to be a day that we didn't remember National Public Works Week, but this coming Friday, we'll have a presentation here on the board recognizing some of our workers that are in the front line. Some of them are in our administrative staff, but really just under Public Works and just the great work that they do throughout the year and throughout their time here. This year, Vahid Corzan, or Commissioner Corzan, has been leading the way for recognizing National Public Works Week. So yay, Commissioner Corzan, for taking on that lead. We threw you right in there. So, and glad we did. Well, there's been a couple of activities that we have been part of. Yesterday we were recognized by council colleagues on the good work that we do as a department. And there's more things that are happening as far as activities and recognitions and so forth. So we're excited to be part of this. Commissioner Corzan, you want to share with us at least one activity that we have going on or had going on this week?
I can only speak to what I know because I'm not quite sure, President Garcia, what you and Commissioner Davis and Commissioner Reyes have done. But I know Vice President Villegas was out for sidewalk repair on Monday, and I was at an EV charger installation on Monday. Nice. So some exciting new things that we're working on. Great.
Thank you for that. We do have Kids Ocean Day happening. That's because of scheduling. Usually Kids Ocean Day happens during National Public Works Week as a recognition of cleaning out also our beaches and our water down at Dockweiler Beach. This year will be next Thursday, May 26th, not this week, just for scheduling. But I hear the kids are back. So yay, we'll have kids back at the beach cleaning and helping us clean. So thank you for everyone and for letting me have some time to give the announcement of National Public Works League. Second announcement, and we did a slight announcement last time, Vice President Villegas on Friday, congratulating you on your graduation, but I want to make sure we do it now officially since you're here. Congratulations on your very well-deserved graduation from only the best school, but USC. So that's 3 against 2. So I just want to say congratulations, fellow alum, and very proud of you and proud of you being on our board. And it's a very happy time to have you here also. So congratulations, Vice President Villegas. We're very well deserved. In case you didn't know, she received her master's degree in executive leadership.
Very good.
Yes, go ahead, Dr. Davis. We all
Yes,
share.
absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. We are always proud when people go on to obtain degrees, and that becomes more asset to those of us here on the board. So certainly we know that she is an executive all on her own, but to have the credential for USC is certainly a plus, and we congratulate her.
Yes, yes. Congratulations on behalf of all of us here, Vice President.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm really
Yes.
honored to be here. Thank you.
Yes.
All right. So I just took a few minutes to give some announcements just before we kind of got started. But come back Friday, we'll have a very special recognition of all of our national public works workers that have done excellent throughout this year and many years before. All right. So now moving on to official business of today. This is agenda item number 1. This is bids. Bids will be received at 10 a.m. for the following public works project. It is the Madrid Theater Renovation Project, work order E1908443, estimate of $7,620,000. This is in Council District 3. Dr. Campos?
Good morning, everyone. Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. President Garcia, this item has been extended to June 1st, 2022, in as much as this board approved an extension on Wednesday, May 11th, to extend the bid opening for the Madrid Theater till June 1st, 2022. So at this time, we're asking for a withdrawal of the bid openings at this time, and we will re-agendize this on June 1st, 2022, as approved by your board.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Any objections, colleagues? Hearing none? That's okay with us, Dr. Campos. This item has been withdrawn from today's agenda.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 2. Colleagues, Vice President Villegas, is this still moving forward?
This item is being continued for 2 weeks.
Got it. Any objections on that, colleagues? If this is a good time, if you have not been briefed on this item, it's probably a good time to do it in the next 2 weeks as we attach the second part of the report. So thank you, Vice President Villegas. Okay, Dr. Campos, item number 2 has been continued for 2 weeks from now, which will lead us to May.
Wednesday, June 1st, 2022.
Got it. Okay. Moving on to item number 3. Item number 3 is from the Bureau of Street Lighting. This is in all council districts. This is to a supplemental agreement number 1 for personal services contract to MBS Government Finance Group Incorporated, recommending the board to 1, approve and forward this report with transmittals to the mayor, requesting that the president or 2 commissioners of the Board of Public Works be authorized to execute supplemental agreement number 1 with MBS Government Finance Group, Inc., to extend the contract and end date of December 10, 2021 by 9 months to September 7, 2022, in compliance with Article A of the original contract. The original 6-month contract was executed on May 27, 2021, and commenced on June 14, 2021. And 2, authorize the president or 2 members of the board to execute the contract supplemental agreement number 1 upon mayor's approval. Mr. Flamenco, good morning.
Good morning. Ruben Flamenco, Bureau of Street Lighting. Item 3 pertains to supplemental agreement number 1 to a personal service contract with NBF that we are seeking approval. We are requesting for the board to adopt item 3 and forward this report to the mayor's office requesting that the president or 2 commissioners of the board be authorized to execute supplemental agreement number 1 with NBS to extend the contract end date of December 10th, 2021 by 9 months to September 7th, 2022. The original 6-month, $245,000 contract for a database software to complete over 550,000 new assessment calculations and make recommended changes to Proposition 218 related documents, including our engineer's report, was to better position the Bureau to conduct a citywide mail-in ballot measure, was executed on May 27th, 2021, and commenced on June 14th, 2021. Let me go into some background for a moment. After the passage of Proposition 218 in 1996, the Los Angeles City Lighting District, consisting of approximately 510,000 parcels and providing approximately more than $40 million annually to the Street Lighting Maintenance Assessment Fund, was and remains frozen. The Bureau has been able to operate despite the Bureau's main revenue source being frozen for over 25 years by implementing cost-saving measures such as our LED conversion program, which was a $10 million in annual savings, and our high-voltage conversion program, which is about a $4 million in annual savings, and other cost-saving measures as well. So over time, as material and labor costs increased, we were able to offset a lot of those costs by the energy savings that we had by the programs that I just described. Ultimately, the Bureau has to create a new Los Angeles City Lighting District of all the parcels, all 550,000 parcels, via mail-in ballot measure in compliance with Proposition 218 that will incorporate an inflation index and allow benefiting property owners the opportunity to decide if they want to maintain or improve the city street lighting services or allow these services to fall below industry standards. On September 11th, 2020, the board authorized the Bureau of Street Lighting to release a request for proposal for a detailed plan for a Proposition 218 assessment database software and related document preparations. The RFP provided a detailed plan on initiating and processing ballot proceedings of approximately 550,000 parcels that would incorporate an inflation index into the Bureau's main revenue source, which is our existing street lighting maintenance assessment fund. The request for proposal was posted on the city's Babin System website on September 16, 2020. A mandatory pre-proposal conference was conducted on October 20th, 2020, and the deadline to submit your proposal was November 6, 2020. NBS was evaluated in accordance with the specifications of the RFP. An initial interview with NBS was conducted on December 17, 2020, and a follow-up interview with NBS was conducted on January 14, 2021. On May 27, 2021, the Board of Public Works executed Contract C138383 with NBS to compile a database software that will complete the calculation of over 550,000 parcels and review and make recommended changes to our Proposition 218 related documents. Now I'll talk about Supplemental Agreement Number 1. Supplemental Agreement Number 1 adds 9 months to the original contract end date of December 10, 2021, thereby extending the end date to September 7, 2022. This increase in contract duration is based on the anticipated time needed to complete the engineer's report and ballot design process, as well as perform new services, including polling and public outreach services, to better help us complete the citywide street lighting maintenance assessment ballot process. Research performed by NBS exposed some Proposition 218 issues and ballot design issues that needed to be reviewed by both the City Attorney's Office and City Clerk's Office for the engineer's report and ballot design to be finalized. These issues have now been addressed, and the engineer's report and ballot design are nearing finalization and awaiting the contract supplemental agreement number 1's approval. In addition, the Bureau of Street Lighting, with support from the Mayor's Office, is proceeding with a citywide street lighting maintenance assessment ballot measure this summer with a target date to mail ballots by August 15, 2022. Polling services per telephone or online surveys and follow-up mail services need to be performed to gauge how property owners who are currently being assessed for street lighting maintenance assessment would vote on a potential citywide ballot measure, with the actual rate for each property owner individualized in their survey. Now, currently, the majority of these single-family residents that make up the 510,000 parcels that have been frozen since 1996 are paying approximately $55 per year in street lighting maintenance assessments. So this poll service will help gauge what they're willing to pay For example, it will probably send a questionnaire that would inquire, are you willing to pay your current assessment plus add an inflation index? Or are you willing to pay your current assessment plus, for example, $10 plus the CPI? And we're trying to gauge to see what the people are willing to pay, what's feasible, what's reasonable, because we don't want to send out these ballots if we don't think we have a reasonable chance of success. Moreover, public outreach efforts for direct mail and direct outreach, talking about dedicated websites, online video, or social media sites like YouTube, and ethnic community services like community news outlets, paid information announcements need to be performed to communicate and educate the benefiting property owners on Proposition 218 and the citywide street lighting maintenance assessment ballot measure. The additional polling and public outreach services necessary for completion of a citywide ballot measure by October 2022 are comparable in nature to the services and related work already being performed by NBS. It is also just not practicable or advantageous with the city's interest and timeline to use a formal competitive process to solicit bids or proposals for the additional public outreach and polling services. NBS has already created the database and software to perform the calculations, and both the ballot design and engineer's report are nearing completion. Moreover, it is imperative that we execute supplemental agreement number 1 so that we may begin the polling and public outreach services as soon as possible. Thereafter, we may finalize design and begin printing the necessary envelopes, ballots, and notices. The city's total obligation under this supplemental agreement shall not exceed $1.294 million. There is no impact to the general fund. There are no federal or state dollars being used. Funding for this contract is being paid 100% by the Bureau's Street Lighting Maintenance Assessment Fund. The cost of these additional services shall not exceed the specified amounts as stated in the supplemental agreement number 1. In summary, the cost of a dual mode telephone and online survey on a sample size of 1,000 people shall not exceed $84,000. The cost of the follow-up mail survey or online survey on a sample size of 40,000, for example, is based on the response rate. If we get a 10% response rate or 4,000 respondents, then the cost is $142,000. But if we get, for example, 30% response rate or 12,000 respondents, then the cost shall not exceed $165,000. And again, these polling services are to gauge the benefiting property owners who are currently being assessed for street lighting, how they would vote on a potential citywide ballot. Now, the cost of the public outreach services per direct mail shall not exceed $350,000. And the cost of public outreach services per digital outreach, and again, this is dedicated websites and online video on social media sites like YouTube, shall not exceed $100,000. Again, these public outreach services are to communicate and to educate benefiting property owners on Proposition 218 and the citywide ballot measure. In closing, the Bureau of Street Lighting is requesting for the board to adopt item 3 and forward this report to the mayor, and upon the mayor's approval, that the president or 2 commissioners with the board execute supplemental agreement number 1 to contract C1383 with NBS. We have been in communication with the city clerk's office, and our collective goal is to mail ballots by August 15, 2022, so the citywide ballot measure is completed prior to the November 22 primary election. Thank you very much, and now I'll take any questions that the commissioners or board may have.
Thank you, Mr. Flamenco. You did a very thorough report on that, so I don't know how many questions we'll have, but give me a second. The commissioners, any questions for Mr. Flamenco? Look, we got 2 hands up. We'll start with Dr. Davis. Dr. Davis?
Thank you, Mr. Flamingo, for your report. And as we celebrate Public Works Week, this is an example of us trying to assess our needs to be able to deliver the consistent service that we provide for the residents of the city of Los Angeles as it relates to street lighting. You mentioned that we're going to do, I guess, a random sample, I would think, perhaps. But you said that we, in your understanding, will have 1,000 people that we will test in this sample. Is that correct?
That would be for the telephone survey.
Okay.
1,000 people in the sample size, but then we're going to also do a direct mail survey of about 40,000 people.
Gotcha. And again, you've expressed that depending upon the return we get from the sample will determine the scope of the funding that we need to dedicate towards paying for the service from those consultants who are going to do the work for us, right?
Correct.
And they currently have an infrastructure in the base that we care about in our constituency because they're doing some other work, research in our base. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
I think that this is a great project in terms of us being able to have a clear indication of what we're getting into as we seek to deliver the services through all of the residents. How long has it been since we have looked at the service delivery of street lighting in this area? Is it 1996 you mentioned?
Yes, it's been the rates have been frozen since 1996, and over the years we've attempted to try to have this citywide ballot measure to replace that LA City Lighting District, and every single time we come across some obstacle that doesn't allow us to move forward. But we're so close. This is the closest that we've ever been. Mm-hmm. So we're hopeful that we will be able to complete this citywide ballot measure this summer.
And currently, technology is rapidly changing. The technologies change rapidly, which means that we would definitely have to know some of this information that this motion asks us to obtain, because it will determine the level of the service that we can provide. And obviously, in America, things cost. We are currently paying, did you tell me, $55?
Yes, most of the single-family owners from 1996, the rates have been frozen at around $55 a year for street lighting.
Let me ask you then, what do you anticipate at today's rate, market rate? What would be reasonable in terms of where we need to be in providing services today? So since 1996, and our current rate is $55. You did mention the level of the service we provide, because if we don't increase the cost in any regard, we won't be able to keep up with the demands of the need for us to increase the service in today's market. So my question to you as a result is, what do we anticipate would be a reasonable rate increase as we look at delivering this service in a manner that Los Angeles residents are deserving?
Based on my experience, we need to increase the assessment rate probably to approximately like $75. But the question also is, what is practicable and what are the people willing to pay for? We did a typical polling service back in 2017 when we were thinking we were going to go also move forward with the citywide ballot. And in 2017, we hired a consultant named SCI who did a polling service of about 40,000, also a sample size of 40,000. And what we learned is that people were willing to pay their assessment rate plus the CPI. And we still had support when we asked the same people, are you willing to pay your assessment rate plus $10 and the CPI, which would take us to around $65. We still were above 50%. After we got above $10, we started to get closer to the 50%, maybe even drop a little below 50%. So based on 2017, people were willing to pay up to $65, but probably no more than $70 based on that polling service. Today, as I mentioned, we probably need to go a little bit higher, but we're hoping that this polling service that will go out will help us gauge and confirm what should be a reasonable and feasible price to ask these benefiting property owners to pay after the rate has been frozen for over 25 years. So we're probably looking, Dr. Davis, to answer your question, in the $65 to $75 range, just to give me a little bit of leeway there.
Great. So understanding the realities of the time that we have been dealing with, but more importantly, to understand our core value, which is service delivery. And as we celebrate Public Works Week, service delivery is what we believe people in the city of Los Angeles care about. What is the level of street lighting services we are receiving? And is it the kind of quality that takes care of the needs of our community and the properties that we own and live in? And is that lighting sufficient to make sure that our quality of life is satisfactory? I think that this is what residents in Los Angeles care most about, and certainly it's the core value of this board. So I support this motion. I appreciate your discussion, and I really appreciate even more having an indication of what we anticipate the cost might be, so that as we do our samples, then we'll know when we get the responses if the residents of Los Angeles are willing to sacrifice to get the core values that we have about our lighting service. So thank you so very much, and I appreciate you indulging me for this few moments here.
Thanks so much, Commissioner Davis.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Vice President Villegas.
Thank you, and thank you for Mr. Flamenco for bringing us to this point. I know that our Bureau of Street Lighting has, as you mentioned in your report, gone through this for some time now. So I appreciate all the due diligence that was done by your Bureau, and then bringing this to us. I just have a couple of questions. I know we had a briefing and that you mentioned some of these things, but just, so that the public knows, if you can just talk to me a little bit about the outreach and how that will be done, so that the public is able to be educated on this, and it's not a traditional, like where you go to the polls or you go vote. It's a mail-in ballot. So just talk to me about that process.
Yeah, the public outreach services for direct mail will be done either in a form of a flyer. It could be a postcard, a picture, a notice, just to be able to get the people educated and familiar with the Prop 218 and the citywide ballot measure, along with maybe key dates that we're going to have in there. But it's just going to be some probably like a single page, a single item, just to alert the people of what's forthcoming.
Okay. And is this outreach going to be done by the consultant, or how can we characterize this information as educational and have, use this board as a pulpit for dissemination of information?
Well, we'll be working closely. Our bureau will be working closely with the consultant, and we need to confirm, and it needs to be to our satisfaction before any notice or any public mail goes out to the public. And we can certainly bring this to the board's attention or forward it to you for your input, very much so.
Thank you. And I'm also wanting to see, is this something that we can also share with the public?
I'm not sure about share with, it's going to be going out to the public. So you mean share with the public beforehand, or?
No, I mean, as these go, as our educational material goes out, I want this board to also be used as an opportunity for dissemination of information, just to get it out.
Yes. And again, we're going to be having a dedicated website where the public will be able to go and catch up and get all the information necessary pertaining to this ballot measure and Proposition 218.
Okay. You're really popular.
We'll see in a few months.
And just another question. Seeing that we're going to have an increase in the cost that residents have to bear right now, if you could just describe what those funds will be used now that you'll be made kind of like whole, or you'll be having an increase. What will those funds be used for?
It will be used first of all, to maintain all of our street lights. It's to pay for all of our financial operations in the Bureau. Again, we're not part of the general fund, so assessments that we collect go for our salaries, our administrative costs, engineering costs, tree trimming, pole painting, pole replacement, knockdowns. As you know, we've been having an issue with copper wire theft, so these funds are also being used to help us improve our technology where we can make that more difficult for our copper and our wires to be stolen, and more importantly, to probably have more crews to be able to to be able to fix more light outages in a much more timely manner.
Okay.
But those are some of the things that all of the assessment money that we collect is used for.
Good. That's good. That's good to know. And then in this increase, it'll include a ongoing CPI.
Yes, it will definitely include an inflation index.
That way you don't have to come back or do a special report to do a whole another Prop 218 measure.
That's correct, but we will still have to come back every year to the board, as we're going to do in the next 3 items, to renew the assessments annually.
Okay. And then just last, you'll be working with the bids, like the business improvement districts, just to get the word out as well?
Yes, we'll make an effort to work with the business improvement districts and neighborhood councils and council, everybody.
Okay. Okay. All right. I know we have some in downtown. That's how come I'm asking. I know they're just very involved and always wanting to know, what we're up to. Okay. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for your thorough report.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Vegas.
I don't see any other hands up, Mr. Flamenco. Just one of my. I don't have any questions. I'm pretty.
I have a.
Oh, you have your hand up. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. It blended in with your background.
I know I have to change that. All right, I just want to thank you, Mr. Flamenco, for the thorough and thoughtful presentation. I think the time has come to really look at deeply our aging infrastructure and the services that we provide to the citizens, constituents of the city of Los Angeles. Street lighting is an important part of our quality of life, safety, and livelihood in our communities. I strongly support this. My message is that I would just like to see how the entire outreach messaging will be framed to support and make sure that our communities or those targeted audience that we have for the 550,000 parcels will really understand how that funding will be used for their benefit. And then the other thing is our transparency. I agree with Vice President Villegas on, are we going to communicate this? Are we going to be sharing this? Because that updates and really looking at how this thing is progressing. I'm very much in support of making sure that we communicate that to the public. And then the third thing is that for this work that's going to be done, are there performance metrics to hold NBS accountable? And at what point is that going to be on a regular way? Who's going to be monitoring and what those standards are?
Well, we'll continue to be working closely with NBS, and obviously they have to meet our satisfaction or we won't pay them.
Okay. I mean, money is one thing. The other thing as well is making sure that they abide by each and every the things that we are really looking for as a board in terms of the transparency and the effectiveness, right, of the methods that they're using. Short of you giving us a report back of what that initial feedback is about the polling and the surveys that are being done and where they are being done and how effective they are and what the response rates are. So
we'll definitely be transparent with the board, and we'll definitely, welcome your input and feedback. Definitely.
Thank you. That's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Reyes, for that as well. Mr. Flamenco, based on the 3 of our commissioners here, and including myself, it looks like our outreach is really important to us because this is something new and different that people will get into their homes. One of the things I've always been, we're about people get an envelope and they don't know what this is about and what it means, and it's just asking for money. So I'm not sure what exactly is going to go into the home. So I think that's why we're all kind of, a little concerned. So please follow up before anything goes out or out public, and please let us see it, just because we want to make sure that our folks are well educated on what they're about to do.
Definitely. Thank you, Commissioner Garcia.
Yes, in addition to your website, I would strongly advise that you put a phone number, where a real person can answer questions. Just in case some folks are not very savvy on the website, and so I really recommend that you have a phone. And then also, I'm not sure what materials, tangible materials, will each resident receive. But in addition to just the ballot, maybe there's a small description on there about what they received. Like, this is a ballot, this is what this means, and so forth. So it might be just a little bit more on there, but that would save not only us, the city, on answering a lot of the questions and following back and so forth, but it would really just aim to the goal that we have here as a board, with alluding to Dr. Davis's point, is that we strive for customer, I don't want to say customer, but our residents' delivery of service. So that's really important to us here at the board.
We'll do so. Thank you,
We are
Commissioner.
our
Garcia.
customers.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Mr. Flamenco. All right, colleagues. Well, I don't hear any other questions. Is there a motion to move item number 3 forward and forthwith?
So moved.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Is there a second?
Second.
Very eager second by Commissioner Corson and Vice President Villegas. Dr. Campos, can we move item number 3 forward and forthwith, with a first by Dr. Davis, second by VP Villegas and Commissioner Corson?
Absolutely. We'll start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, President Garcia,
Aye.
Vice President Villegas,
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis,
Davis, aye.
Commissioner Corzan,
Aye.
and Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Flamenco, you're almost there. It's a long-awaited item since 1996, so we're almost there. And guess what? I'm gonna take items 4, 5, 6 together, so make it even faster for you guys.
Perfect. Perfect.
I'll read them into the record, and then you can go from there. I'm thinking, okay. Item number 4, this is an annual assessment for street lighting maintenance and operation for 2022-2023 for Los Angeles City Lighting District assessments and district frozen since 1996. Recommending the board to 1, adopt and forward this report and transmittals to the city clerk and city council in accordance with section 6.98 of the Administrative Code of the City of Los Angeles, with the recommendations that A, council adopt this report and the ordinance of intention for the Los Angeles City Street Lighting Maintenance Assessment District, under which individual maintenance assessments and the composition of the district will remain substantially the same as in 2021-2022, and therefore assessments will be exempt from the procedures and approval process. Section 4, Proposition 218. As allowed in Section 5 of Proposition 218, no assessments will be increased and no properties will be added to this district. Therefore, no ballots will be required. And B, proceedings for the maintenance of the LACLD for fiscal year 2022/2023 be conducted in conformance with Division 6, Chapter 3, Article 1 of the Los Angeles Administrative Code, California Government Code Section 53753.5, and Proposition 218. At the conclusion of the council public hearing, assessments be confirmed and an ordinance levying the assessment be adopted. Confirmation of the assessments by July 31st, 2022 is necessary to meet the county deadline for inclusion of the assessments of the 2022-2023 property tax bills. Number 5, council district. In all council districts, this is an annual assessment for street lighting maintenance and operations for 2022-2023, 1996197C series street lighting maintenance assessment district. Only assessments in district frozen since 1996. Recommending the board to be, give me a second, I think to 1, adopt and forward this report and transmittals to the city clerk and city council in accordance with section 6.98 of the Administrative Code of Los Angeles, with the recommendations that 1, that A, council adopt this report and the ordinance of intention, which individual maintenance assessment to the total amount assessed and bound and the boundaries of the districts will remain the same as they were in 1996-1997, and to be exempt from the procedures and approval process as allowed in Section 5 of Proposition 218 for 2021-2022. No assessments will be increased and therefore, and no properties will be added to these districts. Therefore, no ballots will be required. And B, proceedings for the maintenance of 92 separate street lighting maintenance district for fiscal year 2022 can be conducted in conformance with Division 6, Chapter 3, Article 1 of the Administrative Code, California Government Code Sections 53753.5 and Proposition 218. At the conclusion of the council public hearing, assessments be confirmed and an ordinance levying the assessments be adopted. And item number 6, annual assessment for street lighting maintenance and operation for 2022-2023, Proposition 218, confirmed street lighting maintenance assessment districts confirmed. Adopt and forward this report and transmittal to the city clerk and the city council in accordance to section 6.98 of the Administrative Code of the City of Los Angeles with the recommendations that A, council adopt this report and 2 ordinance of intentions under which the boundary of the district is the same as its component district's boundaries. The individual maintenance assessments are increased by 3.83%. The amount of the increase in the local consumer price index for 2021 as allowed in the original ordinance, and this district is therefore exempt from the procedures and approval process. Section 4, Proposition 218. As allowed in Section 5 of Proposition 218 for 2021-2022, assessment ballots are therefore not required. And B, proceedings for the maintenance of the street lighting maintenance district for fiscal year 2022-2023 be conducted in conformance with Division 6, Chapter 3, Article 1 of the Administrative Code, California Government Code, Section 53753.5 in Proposition 218. At the conclusion of the council public hearing, assessments be confirmed and an ordinance levying the assessments be adopted. Okay, Mr. Flamenco, tell us what you're doing with 4, 5, and 6.
Ruben Flamenco, Bureau of Street Lighting. Items 4, 5, and 6 pertain to the annual assessment for street lighting maintenance and operation for the 2022-2023 fiscal year. Confirmation of the assessments by July 31st, 2022 is necessary for the County of Los Angeles to accept and include our assessments for collection on the 2022-2023 property tax bills. We are requesting for the board to adopt these reports and ordinances of intentions and forward them forthwith to City Council. Upon adoption of these reports and ordinances of intentions, the required protest hearings may be scheduled. 1 protest hearing at the Board of Public Works and 1 protest hearing at City Council. So in about 4 to 5 weeks, we'll be back with these 3 items at the board to officially conduct the protest hearing, which is necessary in compliance with Proposition 218 before we can renew our assessments. Thereafter, the board and City Council may vote to confirm the assessments and adopt a final ordinance ordering for the street lighting maintenance assessments to be levied. Approval of items 4, 5, and 6 will result in assessment revenue of approximately $48,669,011 to the Street Lighting Maintenance Assessment Fund for the upcoming 2022-2023 fiscal year. Notably, item 4, the Los Angeles City Lighting District, rates frozen since 1996 with no inflation index, consisting of about 510,000 parcels, $44,782,135. In comparison with the 2021-22 fiscal year, $42,124,000. Item 5, the 1996-1997 Z Series, rates frozen since 1997, no inflation index, consisting of approximately 1,612 parcels, $114,468, in comparison to 2021-2022, which was also the same amount, $114,468. Item 6, the Prop 218 confirmed rates unfrozen with an inflation index, consisting right now of 38,400 parcels, $3,772,408, in comparison with the 2021-22 fiscal year of $3,548,492. The individual maintenance assessments for the 38,400 parcels in item 6 are increased by 3.83%, which is the consumer price index for the Los Angeles area for the 2021 calendar year, as determined by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. This increase is for the lighting districts created post-1996, post the passage of Proposition 218. For reference, the CPI for the 2020 calendar year was 1.62%, and for 2019, the CPI was 3.07%. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Flamenco, for that. Dr. Davis. You're on mute, sir.
I apologize. I have no questions or inquiries on this item.
Got it. Thank you. And Ms. Reyes, I'll make sure to look up there so that I don't miss any other hands. All right, Mr. Flamenco, I think you've done a great job based on the items we had here. Colleagues, is there a motion to move items 4, 5, and 6 forward and forthwith?
So move.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Commissioner Reyes. Dr. Campos, there's a first by Dr. Davis and a second by Commissioner Reyes to move items 4, 5, and 6 forward and forthwith.
Thank you. We'll start the voting tabulation now. We'll start with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. This is for items 4, 5, and 6. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Campos. Mr. Flamenco, yay, long awaited report and work to do. I take it you guys will be busy as of right now.
Yes, thank you so much very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Flamenco. Have a good rest of the week.
Likewise.
And thank you for being part of Public Works, Mr. Flamenco.
Thank you so much.
All right, colleagues. Well, glad that BSO is underway to do what they long awaited to do, and hopefully everything goes well, Mr. Flamenco. All right, colleagues, moving on to item number 7. This is a tree item in Council District 11. This is a tree removal at 11650 Santa Monica Boulevard, recommending the board to 1, find under the California Public Resources Code, Section 21166, in the state's Environmental Quality Act, Guidelines Section 15162, on the basis of substantial evidence contained in the whole record that since the city's prior certification of the Environmental Impact Report, number ENV-2015-2957-EIR, there have been no changes to the project, changes with respect to the circumstances under which the project is being undertaken, or new information of substantial importance concerning the project, which cause new significant environmental effects or substantial increase in the severity of previously identified significant effects, and therefore no subsequent EIR, supplemental EIR, or other analysis is required for the project. 2, specify that the Bureau of Street Services Urban Forestry Division, located at 1149 South Broadway, is custodian of the documents or other material that constitute the record of proceedings upon which the board's decision is based. 3, approve the request for a fee tree removal permit for 14 trees, which include 9 Indian laurel figs, 1 red flowering eucalyptus, 1 Mexican fan palm, 1 southern magnolia, and 2 camphor trees. Tree replacements are required. And 4, concur with the Bureau of Street Services determination that the site cannot feasibly accommodate all of the required replacement trees, and pursuant to LAMC 62.177C, authorize a tree replacement guarantee fee to satisfy the board's tree planting requirement. Dr. Campos, do we have any public comment on this one? On item number 7.
No members of the general public are on item number 7. We did receive the public comments through the Google form and also the email that has been distributed to all commissioners.
That's right. Correct. Thank you for that, Dr. Campos. All right, Mr. Bañuelos, good to see you again. We missed you there for like 2 weeks.
Yes. Good morning. Good morning, commissioners. Good morning, everybody. Happy Public Works Week. Hector Bañuelos here with Streets LA Urban Forestry Division. What we have before us is a request for a fee permit to remove 14 trees at 11650 West Santa Monica Boulevard in Council District 11. This is part of a city planning case, DIR 2015-2158, and where the applicant is constructing a 5-story mixed-use development with 165 unit apartments and about 64,700 square feet of commercial retail use. The project fronts Santa Monica Boulevard, but to the east there is Berry Avenue, and to the south there is Idaho Avenue, and to the west there is Barrington Avenue. It's a complete square, so it's an all bounded by 4 streets, LA streets. So within there are 2 trees on Santa Monica Boulevard. However, Santa Monica Boulevard is not under Streets LA purview, and that the applicant is working with Caltrans to seek the necessary permits for that street. So there are 14 trees identified for removal. And there are actually 16 trees here, except for 2 are dead, and they are on the backlog for Urban Forestry Division to remove at a later date. We're hoping we get to the trees before the developer does. So at any rate, there are, of which 8 Indian laurel fig trees are on Barrington Avenue. These are pretty large trees. Just want to make note that Streets LA initially pursued retaining these trees in place, and we're working with the applicant. However, later it was discovered that the trees are infected with a disease called Bosphorus. It's a lethal fungal disease. One tree had clear signs of the infection. That was back in 2020. So now the applicant's pursuing, now they're getting ready to prepare the grounds here for construction. So we did another assessment and appears that several other trees now are showing signs, and all of the trees are in fact infected with the disease, and that's for the urban forestry is not pursuing that the applicant keep the trees in place. It really, once the construction starts, these trees are going to go into further decline, and they wind up dying. So I'll get into the other trees around the site here. There are 1 Indian laurel fig tree and 1 red flowering eucalyptus tree and 1 Southern magnolia tree on Idaho Avenue. There is 1 Mexican fan palm and 2 camphor trees on Berry Avenue. I also want to make note that there was another ficus tree on Berry Avenue, but that succumbed to the Bosphorus and was previously removed by Urban Forestry Division. It was done just recently. So the trees measure approximately 12 to 40 inches in diameter by about 15 to 40 feet in height. They're in fair to poor health. There is all of the Indian laurel fig trees are infected with Bosphorus, verified by a lab analysis that was produced by the applicant. 1 magnolia tree along Idaho is in a state of decline. It has what they call magnolia scale. It's in pretty bad shape. There is 1 red flowering eucalyptus tree there along there as well. They have some cankers on it. There's evidence of a previous limb failure on the tree. It's in fair condition, I guess at best. It is growing under power lines, so it's continually topped by Department of Water and Power. And there on Berry, there are 2 dead Indian laurel fig trees. Those succumbed to the Bosphorus. And then we have 1 Mexican fan palm that where actually the tree trunk is growing halfway on concrete, and half is growing like in a agrifoam wall cover. So not a whole lot of roots holding up that tree. So it's not good condition. And you have 2 camphor trees there. 1 is in a state of decline, has a lot of decay in the tree, really poorly structured. And then 1 remaining camphor tree is stunted in growth. It's not doing a whole lot. Been there for I'm not sure how many decades it's been there, but it hasn't done much. It's probably not going to continue to do anything. And so therefore, that's why we're recommending that the board allow the applicant to remove the 14 trees so they can perform construction of the development. If approved, the applicant there is room to plant 18 24-inch box size. Actually, there's 36-inch box size trees that we're planting here. So the applicants, we worked with them. They're minimal to increase the size from 24 to 36 of the tree replacements. So of these 18 tree replacements, 4 pink crumpet trees were planted on Idaho Avenue. 6 desert willows will be planted on Berry, and the 8 Chinese pistache trees can be planted there along Barrington. The Department of City Planning did prepare an environmental impact report, and it was vetted and it was approved by City Council for this part of this development. The Department of Neighborhood Empowerment, the Council District 11, and the Community Forest Advisory Committee were notified of the tree removal permit application. The council office didn't really hear back from them, but I spoke to them back in 2020, and they were neutral on on the tree removals. At that time, excuse me. So we're asking that the board allow the Streets LA to issue a permit for the trees, and to also to allow us to authorize Streets LA to charge the applicant a tree planting guarantee fee for the remaining 10 trees that are needed to meet the 2-to-1 tree replacement policy. And that concludes my presentation. I'm here to address any questions the board may have.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Bañuelos, for that report. Colleagues, any questions on this item? Commissioner Corson.
I don't have a question. I just wanted to give notice that I was on the Citywide Planning Commission and made the motion to approve this project back in 2019.
Thank you, Commissioner Corson. Ted, would that conflict in his ability to vote in today's item?
No, not at all.
Okay.
It's appreciated for the record, but it doesn't create any issues for the board today.
Okay. Got it. Thank you, Mr. Corson, for being very open and transparent about this process. Okay, any other questions, colleagues?
None from me.
Got it. Hearing none either, is there a motion to move item number 7 forward and forthwith?
I guess I should make the motion.
I guess you should, Commissioner. I'll second your motion. How's that? All right, Dr. Campos, we have a first by Commissioner Corson, since he's very thorough and knowledgeable about this entire program, and a second by me to move item number 7 forward and forthwith.
Thank you. We'll start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Davis, aye.
Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous.
Thank you, Dr. Campos, for that. Mr. Bañuelos, happy National Public Works Week. Very thankful that you're part of our team here at Public Works. You've demonstrated so much throughout the years that I have been here and throughout the many years. And we really look upon you for a lot of our tree items, you are definitely an expert on here, and we always look forward to having you in our meetings. So thank you for that, Mr. Bañuelos, and thank you for always being such a good team player and in a good I don't want to say employee, because you're not just an employee, you're like way more than that. You're absolutely an expert in your field, and you're an asset. That's exactly, you're an asset to our Board of Public Works, our departments, and definitely to the Bureau of Street Services. So thank you for that, and have a good National Public Works Week. Hope you feel better. We can hear
yes, a little bit under the weather here, but yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you. Thank you for the words, your kind words, and your recognition. Appreciate it. Here it is. Here, I'm here to serve.
Of course, and we definitely note it. We've seen that. So have a good rest of the day, Mr. Bañuelos.
Thank you. You too. Everybody else. Thanks.
Thank you. Hector is definitely an icon within our bureaus and our board. He had, ever since I've been on the board, he's been presenting. So thank you, Hector. All right, colleagues, moving on forward to item number 8. This is an all-council district. This is a hearing for the 2022 weed abatement ordinance, recommending the board to 1, hear and consider any appeals related to the 2022 weed abatement ordinance. And we have Mr. Minix here from the Bureau of Street Services, right?
Yes. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Board President Fernando, board members. I'm just here. We're having a hearing, and here in case there's any protest.
President Garcia, Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. At this time, we will call for any hearings or appeals related to the 2022 weed abatement ordinance. Members of the general public that are here at the Board of Public Works for the hearing for the 2022 weed abatements ordinance. If you would like to protest or make an appeal under this time, the Board of Public Works is now considering the hearing and hearing any appeals on this matter. Again, this is for the members of the general public that would like to raise their hand by pressing *9 or raising their virtual hand by the raise hand icon on the Zoom application if you can do so at this time. Last call for any callers on the line that would like to make any formal appeal and be heard under the 2022 weed abatement ordinance. If you can please raise your hand by pressing *9 or click the raise hand icon. President Garcia, at this time there are no members on the line wishing to appeal the 2022 weed abatement ordinance.
Okay. Just for logistical purposes, do we vote on closing it, or do we just kind of receive and file?
We will receive and file and note that no members of the general public presented themselves or testified before your board appealing any of the ordinance APNs.
Okay, got it. Okay, Mr. Minix, it sounds like nobody is, appealing any weed abatement, so let's go forward. Let's clean as much as we can.
Thank you, appreciate it. You guys have a good morning.
You too, and also happy National Public Works Week to you, Mr. Minix. You're also a very important part of our service here, so glad to have you within our board and within our department.
Thank you, you guys too.
Good, have a good rest of the weekend.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. All right, Dr. Campos, was there something else I had to do to close this item, or we officially close it and move forward?
We can officially close this. We will note the no protests were heard today, and we will notify the City Council of that outcome.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Colleagues, note received and file number 18, number 8, I'm sorry. Moving forward to item number 9. This is a joint report between the Bureau of Engineering and the Bureau of Contract Administration. This is in Council Districts 8, 9, and 10 for a contract award for Ramona Inc. Secondary Sewer Renewal Program D, Con 07B H17A-E, recommending the board to 1, declare Ramona Inc. first low bidder to be the lowest responsible bidder and award Ramona a contract for this project for $2,508,695 and authorize the president or 2 members of the board to execute the contract after approval as to form has been obtained from the city attorney. Mr. Arrington, good to see you. Welcome. Happy National Public Works Week.
Good morning, and thank you, Madam President, for that.
Welcome.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Again, my name is Edward Arrington with the Bureau of Engineering, Public Works. The item before you is, of course, the Secondary Sewer Renewal Program, Project DCON 07B, which will be renewing approximately 13,000 reach feet of structural deconditioned sewers in the Adams Normandy area. This project is generally bounded by West 25th Street to the north, 36th Street to the south, Arlington Avenue to the west, and Hoover Street to the east. For reference, it's just southwest of the 10 and 110 intersection. Council District 8, 9, and 10 were briefed on this project and are supportive of the project itself, including the use of peak hour exemptions on streets when necessary for the process of performing the work. The project has been reviewed for environmental consideration. It was determined to be categorically exempt, pursuant to the provisions of the California Environmental Quality Act of 1970. The city's estimate for this project is $2,974,271. We did receive 4 bids for this project, of which the 3 low bidders were starting with the lowest bidder, Ramona, for $2,508,695. Second low bidder was SIL for $2,716,336, and then Corday Construction for $2,787,867. While the first bidder, Ramona, and the 4th bidder, M&R Construction, qualify under the Local Business Preference Program, the order of the bid was not affected. In addition, based on the evaluation of Ramona's business inclusion program efforts by the Office of Contract Compliance for the Bureau of Contract Administration, it was determined that Ramona's BFP efforts were found to pass and acceptable. In addition, regarding subcontracting participation, the mandatory subcontract minimum for this project is 25%. The contract, Ramona has pledged a participation of 25.13% and therefore meets the requirement. This percentage was calculated after subtracting the fixed cost of $116,001. In addition, the project does incorporate a project labor agreement as indicated in the report. In regards to funding, there is no impact to the general fund. The total funding for this project is not to exceed $2,759,564.50. So in view of the above findings, staff finds the bid by Ramona is reasonable. As such, it recommends the board declare Ramona to be the lowest responsible bidder and award Ramona the contract for this project for a bid amount of $2,508,695. That concludes my report, Commissioners. We're glad to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Arrington, for that report. And also happy, I'm sure I told you, but I also want to let Patricia and Mark also, since they are also part of our very big department, happy National Public Works Week to both of you as well. BC is definitely a very much important part of our department here. So welcome to all of you. Mr. Arrington, just if you don't know, his reputation is always to bring forward very hard and complicated projects, and he always thrives when he functions. I think that's where he really thrives, on the most complicated projects we could have. So, Mr. Arrington, that's a really big compliment for you, because you can handle anything after that.
Thank you for that, Madam President. And thank you for my colleagues, of course, who make all this happen.
Exactly. So, Bureau Engineering, also very, very important part of Public Works. Dr. Davis.
Yes, Mr. Arrington, thank you so much for presenting this proposal to us. What is the nature of the work that will be done in this particular vendor that we are proposing to do the work here?
Sure thing, Commissioner. So essentially, we're going to be rehabilitating some existing secondary sewers. These are sewers that range somewhere in the order of 8 inches to about 15 inches throughout various local neighborhoods. So it essentially will involve pulling a lining through these aged or dilapidated sewers to essentially restore their strength and be able to continue to service the particular areas. In some instances, we may have to replace or rehabilitate some maintenance holes. There's a couple of those. And in some instances as well, there might be some locations where the rehabilitation is just not possible. And so we have to do some local spot repairs to actually swap out a particular pipe. Once that is done, then the lining will continue. So in essence, it's a series of linings of existing sewers, some rehab of some of our existing maintenance holes, and then some occasional spot repairs in some particular areas.
And this work is not an emergency sewer request, correct?
Not at this point, Commissioner. They are conditioned these sewers, which is essentially the level just before an emergency situation. So that essentially translates to indicating that they are, while they're not in an emergency situation, they're still in one of the most worst shapes of our sewers, and therefore we're trying to get these projects out as soon as we can and try to get this work going. Typically, these projects we give them a little bit longer time for the contractors to do the work, but because of the fact that they're condition D and they need our immediate attention, the duration of these projects have been shrunk to 12 months.
Well, it's good to know that this work is presented today, because when it's not an emergency, it presents an opportunity for us in many ways to have inclusion of non-traditional workers involved in the project. When we look at this project that's being proposed, is there a project labor agreement involved in this particular project?
Yes, sir. There is a project labor agreement attached to this project, and so efforts will be made to categorize that and pursue those efforts, particularly through the construction phase of the contract.
And as we look at the inclusion on the project in terms of mandatory subcontracting minimum, is there an MSN on this project in terms of what the proposed vendor or contractor seeks to do as it relates to that? Do we have that data as of yet?
Yes, sir, we do. So in this particular contract, the low bidder has pledged a percentage of 25.13%, which it is just above our minimum requirement, 25%. And in so doing, they have pledged their various categorized sub-consultants commitments, and we hope to track that effort and with the hopes that, of course, they'll meet their goals.
Sure. So you said that this motion presents to us an opportunity to support this work going to a group that is a local business, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, and overall, describing all of this, because as we celebrate Public Works Week, the service delivery that we give is important, but so is the opportunities we present when we given that work. One, to local businesses, and we know that even on our ballots today is an attempt to create opportunities for local business and other levels of government so that the people here can be ensured to be a part of the economic opportunities that Public Works presents when it goes to do the work and deliver the service. And so that is important, as well as we look at our labor community. Oftentimes we have people who are not a part of a small business. And so it's good to know that in addition to creating economic opportunities for those in our business community, that we are ensuring that those laborers in our district, particularly those in the heart and its unemployment areas, could potentially be a part of the work that we're letting out to our community. I think the project labor agreement that you discussed a few minutes ago creates an example of how we can do that. So I'm very happy to see this project and to talk about how it fits into the various things that in Public Works we do on an everyday basis to expand our value to the public. So thank you, Mr. Arrington and Patricia, as well as Mark, for presenting this, and to know that not only are we presenting an opportunity for small business, but that we are also presenting an opportunity for inclusion of individual potential workers in our most underemployed areas in this motion and proposal that you're presenting today. Thank you for that.
Thank you, sir.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Davis, for that. Any other questions, colleagues? Hearing none. Mr. Arrington, I also do support this project because it is not an emergency. You can actually, and we are preventing for it to be an emergency, and we fully understand that the work out there in this area is very much needed since the pipe, these have been installed for years now. I think last time you said something close to almost, am I overstating 100 years?
Some of them probably more in the 40s and 50s.
Okay, see?
Commissioner, but yeah, they are definitely of age.
Yeah, it definitely is time. Okay, well, thank you for doing this work, Mr. Arrington. We appreciate that you're not coming here with, like I said, an emergency. We're preventing emergencies to happen. All right, colleagues, is there a motion on the table to move item number 9 forward and forthwith?
So moved.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Commissioner Reyes and Vice President Villegas. Dr. Campos, there's a first by Dr. Davis and a second by Commissioner Reyes and Vice President Villegas to move item number 9 forward and forthwith.
Absolutely. We'll start the voting tabulation now. We'll start with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous.
Thank you, Dr. Campos, for that. All right, Mr. Arrington, Ms. Fueyas, and Mr. Gutierrez, thank you. Are you guys here for the next item as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Got it. All right. No problem. Moving on to item number 10. This is an item in Council District 4 and 5. This is from the Bureau of Engineering and the Bureau of Contract Administration to award contract to Ramona Inc. Secondary Sewer Renewal Program, DCON 02C E20, recommending the board to declare Ramona Inc. the apparent second low bidder that became the first low bidder after the local business preference program was applied, and to be the lowest responsible bidder, and award Ramona a contract for this project for $1,446,944, and to authorize the president or two members of the board to execute the contract after approval, as to form has been obtained from the city attorney. And before you start, Mr. Arrington, I believe we have 1, a caller, and 2, a protest by I think you're here, Miss Tanja Burleson.
Anya
Okay.
Burleson,
From the
Link.
Link. Got it. Thank you for giving me that heads up on the name. Dr. Campos, should we go to the caller first?
Caller is Tanya on the line. She is a real party of interest on this matter. Madam President, we will not time the caller at this time. However, we do let Ms. Burleson know that if she does repeat herself, that you may call and interrupt her at that time.
Yes.
Again, the only caller on the line is from Basilch.
Okay, thank you for that. So, Ms. Burleson, what we're going to do is I'm going to have Mr. Arrington do the Bureau Engineering presentation, and then I'll let you then do your comments, and then we'll open it up to questions from the commissioners from there. Okay? Mr. Arrington?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. On this item before you is in regards to the secondary sewer renewal program, DCON 02C project, which will be renewing approximately 8,000 feet, reach feet of structural deconditioned sewer in the Sherman Oaks and Encino area. The project is generally bounded by the Ventura Freeway to the north, Ventura Canyon Avenue to the east, Mulholland Drive to the south, and the San Diego Freeway to the west. The project is in Council District 4 and 5. They were both briefed on this project, are in support of the job, including peak hour exemption. The project has been reviewed for environmental consideration. It was determined to be categorically exempt pursuant to the provisions of the California Environmental Quality Act of 1970 and under Article 3 of the city's CEQA guidelines. The city's estimate for this project is $1,678,654. We did receive 4 bids, of which the lowest 2 bidders are listed in the report. First low bidder was from Basil Inc. For $1,347,210. Second low bidder was from Ramona Inc. for $1,446,994. Due to Ramona qualifying under the local business preference program at the time of bid, the order of the bids was revised such that Ramona became the lowest bidder with a revised bid amount of $1,331,188.48 solely for valuing purposes, with still remaining at the same identified bid amount. It should be pointed out that the bid documents under the section of Mandatory Local Business Preference Program were used on city-funded contracts greater than $150,000. States in item B that the local business must be listed in Ellie Babin as such prior to bid due date and time in order to participate in the local business preference program. After concluded, I can also turn over any discussions that may be had with my colleagues that are here representing as part of the Bureau of Contract Administration. Also, in terms of evaluation of business inclusion program efforts, Basil Inc. and Ramona Inc. Review was conducted by the Office of Contract Compliance of the Bureau of Contract Administration. Upon conclusion, it was determined that the efforts made by both of these contractors passed the BIP outreach evaluation. Furthermore, regarding subcontracting participation, the mandatory subcontracting minimum requirements for this project remains at 25%. Of this, the contract with Basil Inc. has pledged a participation of 28.12%, and Ramona Inc. has pledged an MSM of 25.08%. These percentages were calculated, of course, after subtracting the fixed cost amount of $96,455. Also, the project does incorporate a project labor agreement, excuse me, as indicated in the report. In regards to funding, there is no impact to the general fund. The total funding for this project is not to exceed $1,591,694.40. So in view of the above findings, staff finds the bid by Ramona Inc. Reasonable. As such, it recommends that the board declare Ramona Inc. to be the lowest responsible bidder and award Ramona Inc. the contract for this project in the amount of $1,446,944. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Arrington. And Ms. Burleson. Ms. Burleson, please go ahead.
Good morning, President Garcia, members of the board, Dr. Campos. My name is Tanya Burleson, representing Basil Inc. At the time of the bid, January 12, 2022, Basil was the apparent low bidder with approximately 100,000 less the second apparent low bidder, Ramona. Basil complied with the Business Inclusion Program outreach requirements of the bid utilizing the LA Bagging services, and Basil passed their BIP outreach evaluation. Basil, a local business since 1988, its inception, has completed numerous construction contracts, including projects incorporating project labor agreement for the city of Los Angeles, awarded by the board. On all the past projects, Basil has complied with the affirmative action, non-discrimination and equal employment practices provision, equal benefit ordinance, and slavery disclosure ordinance requirements of each bid. On each contract, Basil has worked diligently together with the city representatives to complete such on a timely manner and without known violations following set rules, regulations, and ordinances of each contract. At the time of the bid the preparation of the board report, Basil's LBE certification was not available. However, I emailed a copy of Basil's LBE certification to Dr. Campos yesterday. I apologize, and please accept our apologies that we did not communicate this information to you before. Mrs. President, members of the board, Dr. Campos, we would like to ask you to review this case and reconsider awarding this contract to the first low bidder, which is Basil Inc. By doing so, the city will save approximately $100,000. On behalf of Basil Inc., I thank you for the opportunity to speak before you this morning.
Thank you, Ms. Sandra, for that. Mark or Patricia, do you guys want to provide any more context? Or are you here for questions only?
I could provide context, but I'm going to let Patricia take the lead and share what the research that we did in terms of Basil's case.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Ms. Cuellas, please go ahead.
Hi, good morning. As Ms. Burleson said, we can confirm that the LBE status for Basil is current. However, during the time of bid, they were not certified as an LBE, or local business enterprise. Therefore, we could not include the calculation, or the LB, the local business preference calculation, during our review. We did a little research. We saw that the Basil submitted their application for the LBE in March, and the certification was approved by our office in April. So unfortunately, we cannot include the local business preference calculation, and our evaluation still stands. Our recommendation still stands to award this project to Ramona.
Thank you, Ms. Cuellas, for that additional information. Commissioner,
May I say something?
Give me one. Go ahead, Ms.
Unfortunately, we were not aware that our certification expired. We learned that from the letter that we received in regards to a different project where they also were recommending Ramona to be as a low bidder, where we learned that our certification expired. We have not received any communication to renew our certification. And as soon as we received that email, I have started the process of renewing it and submitting all the necessary documentation to the city to renew our certification.
Got it. Ms., thank you for that. Let me ask commissioners questions, and then I have my own questions that I want to ask as well. Mr. Arrington, Ms. Cuellas, or Mr. Gutierrez, anything you want, any additional context you want to add?
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. Good morning, President, Commissioners, Mark Gutierrez, OCC. Just to rehash what Edward shared and Patty, Edward mentioned the rule with the local business preference is that a bidder must either be certified by the bid date or have submitted their application prior to the bid date. And if that application were to be approved, the certification would be retroed back to their application date. So just to reiterate the dates, this project bid on January 12th, Vasilj applied or reapplied, as Tanya shared, on March 19th, and it was ultimately approved and they were certified April 7th. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Gutierrez, I know you said bid was January 12th. When were the bids collected?
That same day. I believe they're submitted at 10 a.m. to the Board of Public Works on January 12th.
Sorry, I probably didn't ask my question correctly. I know that we have a bid date that we opened the bids, and then I'm sorry that we released the bid or released the RFP, for lack of a better word, and then there's a day that we closed it. When was the day that we, I guess, released it, and when did we close it?
Edward, you could correct me if I'm wrong. I believe typically a project is advertised a month before bid date, so this was probably advertised around no later than mid-December, so December 12th, we'll say. And then the bid date was January 12th. In OCC, we turn around the bid review in 40 days, so we probably got this one out mid-February.
Got it.
And then the Vasilj applied based on our records in March.
Okay. All right.
This is Edward again. Yeah, just to confirm what Mark is saying, generally our target is 6 weeks for opportunity to bid, unless some other circumstances. So at the very minimum, 4 weeks would have been correct.
Okay.
But, we can get back to the exact date.
Okay, I thank you for that. I wanted to just make sure we had that clear. Ms. Fueyas?
I'd like to also add that the BAVIN or RAMP sends a notification of pending expirations for certifications 30 days prior to the expiration. So there should have been a notification sent by RAMP.
Okay. Thank you for that. That was going to be my next question. What is the BCA's process to let folks know that their certification either has been expired or is about to expire or in the midst of that? But thank you for that additional context. Let me take it over to my colleagues on the board here. Yes, Mr. Arrington.
Sorry, I just confirmed with staff. The project was advertised on November 10th of 2022. Excuse me, 2021.
Okay, November 10th, 2021, and the bid date was January 12th, 2022. So it's a pretty long gap. Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Arrington. Colleagues, the commissioners, any questions on this item for either Mr. Arrington, Ms. Fueyas, Mr. Gutierrez, or Ms. Burlinson? Yes, we'll go with Commissioner Corson and then followed by Dr. Davis. Commissioner Corson?
Thank you. I think I missed it. What was the date that that it expired for a siege?
Great question. I don't think that was given yet. I'm on the LA Pop right now. I'm going to try to determine that, but I'm not sure right now.
Ms. Burleson, do you know the date?
I'm not sure either. As I said, I was aware of the expiration when we received the letter from the city. I have not received any emails. I have not received any mail, letters in the mail to let us know of this expiration. And unfortunately, I was not involved with renewing or dealing with the certification prior to this year. It was someone that is no longer with the company.
Hey, Commissioner Corson,
yes.
The LB expire was March 12th, 2019.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Corson. Dr. Davis.
I wanted to ask about this particular contract is another sewer project. Is that correct?
Correct.
And do we have the same conditions of involvement that we had with the first one? In other words, do we have a project labor agreement on this project equally as we did in the first one? Then
Yes,
in
sir.
turn, what is the and what is the quote that they've given us on this project as it relates to their plans for including of other small businesses there on this project?
Yes, so for MSN regarding Ramona, they pledged a participation of 25.08%, above our minimum of 25%.
Great. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ms. President.
Thank you, Dr. Davis, for that. Any other questions, colleagues? I don't see any other questions, but just to clarify, it looks like your expiration, Ms. Burlington, was since March 12th of 2019. That's technically 2 to 3 years from now. This proposal came out in November of 2021. Mark Arrington, am I correct? November of 2021? That just seems
November 10th.
November 10th.
November of 2021.
Correct, when it got advertised.
So, Ms. Vasile, unfortunately, it sounds like there has been a very long time without your LBE certification from 2019 up until now. I mean, I'm not hearing any other argument to go to turn this around at this time, because 2019 to 20, you had almost a year and a half to update your expiration. And I understand you were not there, but your company has been in this, they know what to do. They've been in management. They've been doing this for a long time. So it's hard for us to have an argument on turning the declaration of the bids, because there was such a lack of uncertified LBE since 2019. I now understand you guys have updated and you're back to being local business preference eligible. So moving forward, you can now, obviously use that and put that within your bid. But right now, I personally, I'm not seeing how we can justify this based on that there was a certification lack for almost a year and a half. Unless I'm completely wrong and any of my colleagues want to discuss this further, I'm open to that. Otherwise, I would move this one forward as recommended by the Bureau of Engineering and the Bureau of Contract Administration.
Second thought.
Thank you, Vice President Villegas. I'm sorry, Ms. Tanja. I hope moving forward you'll be able to now use your LBE in any of our bids. And Mark and Patricia will be able to help you if there's any other more concerns around it. But thank you for taking the time to be here. And I understand your company is important to us, and there's still tons of work to be done. So I hope to see you back in a winning bid in the future.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. With that said, Dr. Campos, there's a first by me and a second by Vice President Villegas to move item number number 10 forward and forthwith. Dr. Campos?
Just give me 1 second.
Sure.
Sorry about that, President Garcia. We'll go ahead and start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. Ms. Tanja, thank you for being here. And also, congratulations for being part of Public Works. Not in this contract, but you're part of Public Works in many other contracts that we have with you. So thank you for that.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you so much. All right, everyone, have a good rest of the week and happy National Public Works Week to Bureau of Engineering and the Bureau of Contract Administration.
Likewise, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Have
you.
a great
Thank you.
day. Bye-bye.
Everybody, thank you.
All right, colleagues, moving on to item number 11. This is a contract award in Council District number 9. This is the Bureau of Engineering. The Bureau
I stumbled.
Patricia, yeah, thank you. Let me come back. This is from the Bureau of Engineering, the Bureau of Contract Administration, item number 11 on today's agenda for the Council District number 9. This is a contract award to CS Legacy Construction, Inc., Council District number 9, Tiny Home Village, Compton and Nevin, 2621 South Nevin Avenue, Los Angeles, California, 90011. Recommending the board to 1, declare CS Legacy Construction, Inc., first low bidder to be the lowest responsible bidder and award CS Legacy a contract for the Tiny Home Village on Compton and Nevin project for $3,805,456, and 2, authorize the president or 2 members of the board to execute the contract after approval as to form has been obtained from the city attorney, and 3, recommend to the board to instruct CS Legacy to submit their bonds and insurance as soon as possible, but no later than 14 calendar days from today. Ms. Quiñones, thank you for being here once again, and welcome to the week of National Public Works Week. You are definitely a big, huge asset to our current and past projects. You're welcome. We are very much appreciated. And folks, if you did not know, Marina is a very high-level engineer here with the Bureau of Engineering. Not only has she been the lead in a lot of our homeless design and shelters, but she attends them. She has a great attitude. She was a very great team player. And lastly, she is very well-versed and knowledgeable in what she does. So Marina, very proud of you for being one of our top leads in the engineering field. And very much you deserve also recognition today and every day, especially for the work that you're doing now as you are closing the gap on a lot of our unhoused individuals in the city. Believe it or not, you might not be the one doing the direct service, but you are designing and making sure construction goes well to all of these unhoused projects that we're doing. But not only do you do that, you do it to make sure that the design comes with integrity and dignity to the folks that will be living in the shelters. So thank you for having all of that in one area, and you put all of that into the design. So sorry that I'm rambling, but I just want to make sure that as we see folks throughout this week, we recognize them for the good work that they do. Officially, we'll have a recognition Friday, but Marina, you are definitely a asset to our Public Works Department. So welcome.
Thank you, President Garcia. Good morning, everyone. It's definitely an honor to do what I do, and we couldn't do it without your support, so thank you to the board for all the support you provide throughout the years. So this morning's board report is an award board report for CD9 Tiny Home Village, Compton and Nevin. This is Tiny Home Village number 12. We are recommending the board award CS Legacy the contract for construction. CS Legacy was the lowest of 3 bidders, coming in just under 15% below the city engineer's estimate. The construction duration will be 98 calendar days. It is a design-build contract as other tiny home villages. This is CS Legacy's first tiny home village, so we do see that a close collaboration will be needed with the Bureau of Engineering just to guide them through the process, especially through plan check and the expeditious process that we're going through. But they are a capable contractor. They've done quite a lot of work in the city. In regards to the site, if I could direct your attention to Figure 1. The site's located in CD9 between Nevin and Compton, just south of Adams Street. The area is primarily industrial, clothing manufacturing mostly. It's also near Juliana Nava Learning Academy, so just to kind of give you the general area. The site is owned by MTA. If you see the image, it's a very long site. It will be leased to the city for 3 years. The site will provide 74 cabins for up to 144 beds. We'll provide the same amenities, hygiene, laundry, case management, outdoor communal areas, also a pet area. The cost per bed for this site is a little bit higher than we've seen in the previous awarded tiny home villages due to a bit more site improvement. So the site, as I mentioned, is owned by MTA. It used to be a railroad track area, so the tracks have been removed. As we know, just from previous sites, sometimes there is a possibility of lead pockets within those sites when railroad tracks are removed. So the site will go through a little bit of soil sampling and a stockpile for testing. So all of that kind of adds up a little bit and increases that cost. We're also adding an impermeable barrier underneath the pallet shelters, just as a precautionary measure. CD9 has performed outreach, and they've been highly involved in the collaboration between MTA and the city to finalize the lease agreement. That concludes my report. I can answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Ms. Quiñones, for that. Colleagues, any questions on this item? Sure, Ms. Reyes?
Hi, Marina. Just one question on the project duration. Is that 98 days for sure? Just you telling us that there will be soil sampling, and is there a contingency so the board will know, like, will this be a firm turnaround date for this project?
A lot of projects within the tiny home village kind of spectrum have been 98 calendar days, even with soil sampling and site improvements on kind of contaminated soil. So the 98 days is pretty set. The contractors are aware of that, and we pretty much met that deadline with all projects.
Are we the same contractor?
This is a new contractor.
This is the new one, right?
Yes. They've not worked on any tiny home villages yet. But we do see that a direct collaboration will be needed to kind of guide them along. But we do not see any issues with the duration applied to the project.
And have you done that? Have you done the guidance with a new contractor before? Probably one of your new contractors, now familiar contractors on the tiny home. I'm just want to be assured that the 98 duration is going to be met.
So our first tiny home village was built by Ford Inc. And so we went through that collaboration with them. Then Access Pacific came on. That was the second contractor. And we went through that collaboration again, kind of hand-holding and guiding. And, they've worked it. Now they're the experts. This is now the first time CS Legacy is jumping on board. And so we'll do the same guidance to kind of help them succeed.
I like that. Thank you so much. I think that's really essential, especially with new providers or service providers that we have. This is a very important project to ease the homelessness issue that the city has. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Reyes. Dr. Davis.
Thank you so much, Madam President. First, Marina, congratulations on being featured at the Center for Southern California Studies at California State Northridge University. We appreciate you talking about this project there at the university, and it certainly increased their awareness about what the city is doing. I listened to your discussion about this particular motion, and you did raise the issue that this will be perhaps a little more costly than the others. And of course, my concern is that perhaps the difficult thing is that this is probably the lowest revenue generating district per household than any of the other 15 districts. And so I don't know, I guess you said is the reason that we moved the railroad tracks the reason why the cost is much higher in that area? And what, if anything, can be done to bring it par with the others?
It's actually not the highest. We've had some that are 60,000, 50,000. It's just a little bit higher than the most recent, right? The most recent ones have been 30, maybe we're breaking 35.
I see.
And that's kind of where we've been. This is 38, so it's a little bit higher, just due to the need to stockpile soil. So what the process is, the contractor will have to stockpile soil, test it, and if it has high levels of lead, then it has to go to a different yard. If it has, within thresholds, it can go to a standard landfill. So that's really all that's increasing here a little bit. It's not the highest. It's just compared to the most recent ones, it is a little bit higher.
How many units are being proposed in this particular project?
74 cabins, 144 beds.
I see. And in terms of how we select the individuals that get here, is there some central admissions process, or do you have anything to do with those who get admitted to our facilities once we finish it?
So the city is working with LASA. It's mostly CAO and LASA collaborate with the council offices, and they do have an intake process where they queue people in need. I personally am not involved in that, but I know that there is a process in selection.
Is this the only project in the 9th District? Is this the first project that they have embraced from your program?
No, it isn't. They have an ABH. They also have a few home key sites. This is their first tiny home village.
Gotcha.
But they have several other homeless shelters.
And let me have a general question answered, if possible. In terms of the vision for the home, the little home village, is it the vision of the mayor's office that we would implement this program in the same fashion we have done with just in general homeless services? Was the goal to have every one of the 15 district offices, council offices, to embrace one of these projects? Was that the vision?
Yeah, the vision is that these would carry through at each district. Yes, I believe that's the understanding that we all have.
And even though it's not directly related, but indirectly, are we making progress on the global goal of also doing it in the other 15 areas, in the other 14 areas, if you will?
I believe a couple of districts do not have a tiny home village yet. They do have other types of homeless housing, but not a tiny home village.
Now, the other question is, as we look at the implementation of the tiny home villages, are there any other areas that are doing tiny home villages other than Los Angeles, or where are we in the implementation of this project?
So other cities have reached out to us, Santa Monica, Huntington Beach, San Francisco. They've reached out to us to just understand the process, especially our permitting process, because as you know, we've amended our codes and have worked very closely with the fire department. And so we've had inquiries from other cities as well. And so also Pallet Shelters, the company, has various projects going on throughout the country. So it is definitely something that is actively going on outside of LA.
But in the Southern California, in the state region, in the state, we're the only one leading doing this that we know of as in terms of right now. Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah, that's my understanding. We have had, as I said, other cities have reached out. I don't know how far along they've been in their development of the tiny home villages, but we definitely are, I believe, leading the way.
Good. Now, as it relates to our relationship with the county in our unincorporated areas, do they have any efforts that are similar to ours as it relates to, because it is a countywide problem, not just specifically here, but I was just curious, the impact that this project has. Is it something similar in the county unincorporated areas as well? Do you know?
We've had 2 projects with the county where we've actually used their land and have built a shelter on it. I don't know that the county is actively engaged in building tiny home villages.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Madam President.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Davis, definitely. Actually, Marina and I had a conversation yesterday about compiling all of the different types of structures they've done and just kind of giving us an oral report of all the in an aggregated form, all the different designs that they've done throughout this year and how the impact that BOE has had on our unhoused Angelinos. So I just want to let you know that Marina will work on that, and in the next following months we'll have in our report just the overall big picture of just what BOE has been doing on designing and getting these different types of structures up and going. So look forward to hearing that. I mean, when I heard Dr. Davis, I'm like, oh, it's alluding to what I was thinking of yesterday. We just kind of I feel like we've been approving them by, in a fashion that has been coming very consistent. However, we haven't been seeing the big picture yet, and so I just feel like, yeah, we approved that one. Yeah, open ribbon, ribbon cutting event, and so we continue to go through this, but we just need to see the bigger picture of what really we have been doing throughout this whole time, in our attributions to decreasing our on-house communities. So I just want to hear that in big data. So thank you, Marina. We look forward to programming that and making that come into our board hopefully in a month from now. Okay, got it. Thank you, Marina. Okay, colleagues, any other questions, concerns, comments? Is there a motion to move item number, my God, today I've been everywhere with
11.
7. Thank you. To move it forward and forthwith.
So moved.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Is there a second?
Yeah.
Is that a second, Vice President Villegas?
Yes.
Got it. Okay, Dr. Campos, we have a first by Dr. Davis and a second by Vice President Villegas to move item number 7, you guys said?
11.
11, forward and forthwith. Sorry, all my pages went everywhere, that's why.
No worries. We'll go ahead and start the voting tabulation again. This is for item 11. We'll start with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Marina, for your time and effort, and have a good National Public Works Week.
Everyone, the same to you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. All right, colleagues, I'm back on track. I have my agenda. I see notes and everything. So this is how I lost myself. There's so many pages today. All right, item number 12. This is an administrative item, and actually I'm going to take 12, 13, and 14 all together, unless there's any objections on doing that. Hearing none. Administrative item, we will not have any presenters. This is for Council District 9, 12, 14, and 15. This is a specification submitted for board adoption and authorization to advertise for the invitation of bids. Council District 9, 12, 14, 15, Sidewalk Repair Program Package number 60, Work Order E1908793, estimate of $1,477,022. Bid receipt date will be June 22, 2022. Item number 13, Council District 4, specifications submitted for board adoption and authorization to advertise for the invitation of bids. Council District 4, North Outfall Sewer Rehabilitation Unit 30, Colfax and Whitsett. Work order SZ, as in zebra, C as in cat, 13456, estimate of $12,290,763. Bid receipt date June 22nd, 2022. And item number 14, Council Districts 1, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 11, 13, and 15. This is the mayor and city council have approved and authorized the Board of Public Works on behalf of the Bureau of Sanitation to execute Measure W Safe Clean Water Regional Round 2 transfer agreements, addenda, and necessary actions for this project. Colleague, are there any objections on moving items 12, 13, 14 forward and forthwith?
None.
Hearing none. Is there a second to my motion to move items 12, 13, and 14?
I'll second.
Thank you, Vice President Villegas. Dr. Campos, we have a first by me and a second by Vice President Villegas for 12, 13, and 14 to move it forward and forthwith.
Thank you. We'll start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. This is to adopt in items 12, 13, and 14. Thank you.
Thank you. Colleagues, we have just an oral report. I'm just going to take a temperature check. Anybody need a 5-minute break, or should we just go straight to the oral report and that's the end of our meeting for today? Hearing nobody eager to take a break, let's push on through. All right, Dr. Campos will take on Bureau of Street Services City Trees Update. And who do we have here today?
We have Mr. Miranda that is presenting. Mr. Miranda, I'm sending you an invitation to join us as a panelist. You should get that invite in about 3 seconds. Once you accept, can you please turn on your video cam for us, please? Mr. Miranda, if you can hear me, if you can just turn on your video cam. Thank you.
Mr. Miranda.
There you are.
Good afternoon. Well, technically, good afternoon now, 12:06.
Oh, geez, already. That's time flies, right?
Time flies when we're having fun here. And by the way, yes, congratulations to you, Mr. Miranda. Also, I want to recognize your work here with the Bureau of Street Services and all the good work you do around trees. So, Mr. Miranda, you're also an asset to our department overall, and we wish you a good National Public Works Week, and stay with Public Works, Mr. Miranda. You have a long way to go. You look very young.
Thank you. It's an honor to be part of Public Works here. Thank you very much. All right, good morning. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is David Miranda, Urban Forestry Division Manager. I'm here to present an oral report, our semi-annual oral report for the Bureau of Street Services, Streets LA, Urban Forestry Division, fiscal year 21-22. Our division response to emergency requests. UFD received a total of 10,095 tree emergencies and 5,430 obstruction requests for a total of 15,530 total emergency tree-related work requests that were received and completed. The average emergency first response is 0.8 of 1 day and a final cleanup of less than 3 days. This includes rain, wind, and fire events during the fiscal year. Our goal is always to maintain an outstanding service for our constituents. Tree trimming. UFD has a set goal to trim 33,000 trees this fiscal year. UFD has trimmed a total of 23,181 trees and will target to accomplish our tree trimming goal this fiscal year. Tree and stump removals. UFD is actively engaged in removing dead, dying, diseased trees and stumps prevalent citywide. UFD has a set goal to remove 1,800 trees and stumps this fiscal year. UFD has removed 2,350 trees and 3,300 stumps. And excited to say that we've have surpassed our goal, and we're going to continue to remove dead, dying trees as needed. Landscape medians. On September 2021, the Board of Public Works approved the first year renewal for the 4 landscape maintenance contractors for all landscape medians. The 4 contractors are satisfactorily performing service to approximately 10.5 million square feet of our medians once every 2 weeks. We're currently having a great tree inventory being implemented here with the City of LA. The city's tree inventory started in October 2019, spearheaded by David Resource Group. DRG Resource Group, DRG, as of April 29, 2022, there has been 646,325 sites collected with 485,143 live trees. DRG completed the data collection and tree inventory for 70 of the 99 certified neighborhood consuls, and 12 of the 70 have received tree inventory presentations from UFD staff. DRG identified 165,000 potential planting sites to date. UFD continues to receive weekly progress reports from DRG, which provides UFD valued information. The completed neighborhood consul tree inventory reports are available to the public on the Bureau of Street Services website, along with an online map of inventory trees. Tree planting. Urban Forestry Division continues efforts to sustain the tree population by planting new trees. The tree planting goal for UFD is 1,500 trees, and UFD has planted a total of 1,960 trees. UFD staff identified 233 sites for the 2021 guaranteed tree fee and commenced tree planting of these trees on 4/4/2022. In addition, the next phase urban cooling project planted 1,260 trees and will continue to plant 540 trees to complete the estimated of 1,800 goal for fiscal year 21-22. The Bureau of Street Services Sidewalk Repair Program. All work combined, Streets LA, UFD crews trimmed and root pruned 153 trees. removed 20 trees, and replanted 83 trees. The Bureau of Street Services watering crew, UFD watering crews, are currently watering and maintaining approximately 7,700 trees citywide. The BOE Sidewalk Repair Rebate Program, the Bureau of Street Services has inspected 394 rebate sites fiscal year to date. And the Access Request Assessments, BSS UFD inspected 275 locations. This concludes our semi-annual report. If you have any additional questions or comments, please feel free to open up the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Miranda, for that. I very appreciative on all the work that Bureau of Street Services is doing around our trees and maintaining our street trees. Any questions, colleagues, for Mr. Miranda today? Hearing none, Mr. Miranda. Oh, yes, Ms. Reyes.
How often are the trees watered?
The newly planted trees, they're watered 33 times per year, 33 visits, and it's hand watered by our UFD staff, and we have current gator bags installed on all the newly planted trees. So 33 visits per year, approximately 15 to 20 gallons of water per tree.
And then after that, is that turned over to another entity to continue the work?
They're watered for a period of 3 to 5 years, and after that, they should be able to survive on their own, the trees.
Okay.
And then we provide the proactive maintenance through our periodic grid trimming.
Is there a reduction in watering that we're thinking about because of the drought?
Not on hand water trees. On our median islands, that there's any type of landscape maintenance, we've already performed that reduction earlier in this year to 2 times per week.
Okay. Just wanted to know, just to make sure that they survive.
Definitely.
Yeah. Actually, that's a good point, Commissioner Reyes. I did talk to Rachel, our Chief Forest Officer, and also to Mr. Miranda about publicly putting some statements on how to conserve our trees during water restrictions. And so I know that's upcoming this coming week on just making sure that our community knows how to keep green during water restriction time. And we're definitely in that time. So I know that Mr. Miranda and Rachel are working on that. So we'll soon have information to provide to the public around that.
Right. And we'll attach a Q&A to our Bureau's website for people, anybody who wants to log on, they can log on to our Bureau website and they'll have questions and answers about providing that extra tree care during the drought right now that we're facing.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that, Ms. Reyes. Okay, Mr. Miranda, I think we're good with everything you shared with us today. And if we have any other questions, we'll make sure to follow up with you. Otherwise, have a good rest of the week and happy National Public Works Week to you and to your entire team.
Thank you very much.
A good part of Public Works, and we admire all the work that gets, all the work and care that you do for our trees.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too. All right. Dr. Campos, are there any other items on the desk?
Yeah, you have cleared the desk.
Thank you very much. Colleagues, it is 12:14. We are officially adjourned for today. Have a good National Public Works Week, whatever you do the rest coming days, but we'll see each other back Friday at 10 a.m. All right, everyone. Have a good day.